from people getting things by courier, and they were supported by teachers by their ESS teacher, but they did a very hard-headed sort of thing on how much plastic comes in, where it goes, what we're burning, and in the end, there was no way anybody could say no to this decision. And the guards were also, so it was again something which was right from the guards at the gate to the ESS faculty. So the guards at the gate were instructed that they could actually empty things out into the students' laps if they found them packed in a plastic bag. So everybody was involved in that, and it's been really successful so far. Yeah, so I would say that's one big team effort that's happened.
Can you describe a time when the organization failed?
Failed in what way?
Any way, whether it's failed a student, failed in their goals, failed you.
Okay. At the beginning of the year, when the whole Rohingya issue was very much in the media, there were some students who felt that it was our moral obligation as a UWC to be very vocal about this and to draw people's attention to it. And they decided to do a peaceful march in the city, not shouting slogans, but carrying placards, and also stopping along the way to engage with people. And so we planned it on this one road, which has where a lot of Indian college students hang out. And the idea was to walk along and to also engage in conversations with students, saying, do you know what is happening? Would you like to know more about it? And not asking for any kind of action from anybody, just sharing information. And it was something which built a huge amount of momentum within just about a week. And we had college meet, and it was really just because the college supported everybody till it was like 2 days before we were to go into town. And then suddenly gave in because our board of directors in Bombay said that this would be this would be drawing unnecessary attention to the college, and it's in direct contradiction to the Indian government's policy at the moment, and you shouldn't be involved in a political act. And it was extremely disappointing to the students. It was extremely disappointing to many of us as teachers, because we felt that it was not something which would have had any kind of negative effect at all. And then it sort of reinforced a lot of feelings that this is a typical UWC thing where we just talk about change, but you don't actually do anything. And so that as much as the leading up to the whole 10 days leading up to it, it was supercharged. It then took people about a month to just get over their disappointment, and there's a lot of cynicism. And I felt that creating cynicism in young people is something quite unforgivable in that sense. And the college should have been clear right from the beginning, saying, no, you cannot do this. But it seemed almost as if they were always going to say no, but they didn't want to say no right from the beginning. And that made it seem very hypocritical. So that for me was a huge disappointment in the college's attitude towards as a UWC.
So just on to the last kind of segment, and this is kind of about your commitment, your interest in staying with the school. How long do you plan on staying with the UWC there?
Well, I mean, I am really happy that I am involved with the UWC. I've been involved with, I don't like to use this word alternative education, but I would say non-mainstream education for a large part of my life. And before that, in the development sector and in journalism. So I find at the UWC, it's something that's brought together a lot of my interests and the things that I'm passionate about, which is social justice things and teaching. And I think despite all the limitations of, having young students for just 2 years, and then all the arguments and the things that we keep having about what does it mean to be a UWC, I feel that it's one of the most positive and most interesting places to work, apart from the fact that you get to meet such wonderful young people every year. So as far as I'm concerned personally, I'm 57. I would like to keep working for as long as I can in a place like the UWC. I'm not sure if that means that I would continue in a full-time teaching capacity, but certainly to be involved with the institution or the organization in some way in supporting the larger values of this, because I feel, I don't know if I can explain, to come home from college every day, and then what we normally do is put on the TV at some point and watch the news, and it's really, really, really depressing to see what is happening in the world. And then the next day when I see the students, it sounds very cliched to say this, but it's honestly something that gives me hope. And despite all the criticism, despite the fact that we keep saying all these things about these idiot young people who never seem to look beyond themselves, blah, 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 I think that it's things like the UWC which keep me going, at least at the moment. So yeah, maybe not in teaching, but certainly and compared to other Indian institutions, Mahindra World College has its issues, but it also has a degree of transparency, and flexibility, which I know I would not find in any other institution at this level in India.
And when you talk to your friends and neighbors, what do you tell them about where you work and the experiences you have?
Well, when I do tell them about it, first of all, I have to clarify to them that it's not a whole bunch of rich kids from all over the world. So, because in India, the whole thing of an international school it's a very elitist school, because, so I have to clarify that, yes, the fees are extremely high, but yes, almost all our students are on some form of scholarship. Many of them come from conflict backgrounds. We have refugee students. We have Indian students who are not all, rich Bombay kids. So that is something that I like to immediately clarify, because otherwise, they said, oh, you're teaching in one of those kind of international schools. So, and then once that is clarified, most people are really sort of keen on visiting, on coming to meet the students. I had some of the students staying with me over the Christmas break. I had one student staying with me over the Christmas break, and then I had a whole bunch who visited, and we all went walking around the neighborhood one day. And in the next few days, I had all these questions like, who were those students? Were they from Africa? Was this one from so and so? She looked very Indian. I said, yeah, she was from Venezuela. They look like us. So there's a lot of interest and a lot of envy, I would say, in one sense, that wow, you get to teach this amazing course and to meet all these wonderful people. Yeah, so there's.
And when you first started working there, how long were you originally planning on to work there? Did you have a plan?
No, I didn't. I as I said, it was something that I have been in a sense associated with the UWC because many years back, my husband taught theater here for 2 years, and then he, for various reasons, didn't continue. My daughter was a student there, and it was something that I never even visited the college when she was a student there, but it was something that I got involved in, as I said, through the foundation course. But the more I saw it, the more I felt that this is a place that I would really want to be part of. Despite, as I said, despite all the limitations, I feel it's a very important thing to be part of, process to be part of.
And what is it about the school that keeps you there? What continues to draw you in?